Right, thank you. Right, thank you so much to the team. Of course, the Kyalami 9 hour, the qualifying now done and dusted. A couple of interesting results coming through there, and looking forward to getting some reaction from that in a short while. As you can see, of course, we've got now the Formula 1600s and the FF Kent race about to get underway. Let's just remind you what's still to come here on day one of the Kyalami 9 hour festival. The InvestChem F1600s are about to get underway. We've got the FF Kent then as well joining them at the back of the field. And there we go, we're under starters' orders, and we're about to get things underway here. It's Troy Dolenchek who surprised it on pole position. The number 17 about to send things off here. He's had a difficult start to the weekend, but the rookie of the year from last year looks like the man to beat here as we get ready to go racing here at the Kyalami 9 hour. The first race for the weekend and the first for the season for the InvestChem. And there they go, underway. A bit of a stall there from Dolenchek, and number 19 looks like he got the whole shot there. Gerard Geldenace, the runner-up from last season in the Abacus divisions. Car is heading down to the first corner, and looking like he's the man who possibly... Oh, and we've got an incident. It looks like he's taken out some of the wing there in the third, fourth place car. In fact, it looks like it's an engine cover that's come off, and that's going to certainly, the stewards are not going to be happy with that. He's going to have to come in for that unless it flies off. No, they're certainly not going to allow that to happen. So we're underway here. The third place on the grid was Sia Mokonwana. The InvestChem vehicle is certainly one that's been dominant throughout the weekend. He was featuring in free practice 1 and 2, but struggling just to put it on pole, starting out in fourth place. Nicholas Van Wheelie as well, another man to have struggled all weekend long, but when it came to qualifying, he put it on fifth position. And looks like he's had a good start as well. It's open-wheeled racing. It's close racing here in the InvestX F1600. In the FF Kent, this is the cars without the rear wings a bit further back. It was on pole position, Graham Hepburn. Also struggled early on in the weekend, but found it going his way as we head to qualifying. Ian Schofield from InvestChem in second place on the grid, and Duncan Vos, a former Dakar star, of course, and a well-known name in South African motorsport. He was dominating in early free practice, but has fallen back. It was Alan Meyer who started in third place. Interesting to see what the stewards are going to say about that one as we head down into the Crocodiles first, of course, and then the Cheetah, and into the final corner. We start to get our race results coming through. So 8 laps of the InvestChem 1600s and the FF Kent, and it's their first race of 2023. This race, of course, notable for being the richest race in racing in South Africa, because the winner last year winning 200,000 Rand and the seat in GTC, or at least the test session in GTE. Right, results start coming through now from lap times, and it is the number 19, Gerard Geldenace, who started in second place, the runner-up from last season. As we thought on that first corner going into Crowthorne, he got the whole shot there on Dolenchek, who's fallen down to second. Van Wheelie, who started in fifth, has made his way up into third place. Mokonwana into fourth. You just feel that they can't keep going with that damage there. Troy Dolenchek, as he falls down, and surely the stewards are going to call him in. Looking down at the FF Kent race, of course, this is the vehicles without the wings. We've got Schofield, who's in second, just behind Hepburn, as they started on the grid. And up into third place, it's Duncan Vos. Wow, he started way back in the field and has found the going good. Of course, Ronald Van Wheelie not starting the race. Let's see if we can find out what's happened with Van Wheelie. So Geldenace leading the way. And Nicholas Van Wheelie now up into second place ahead of Mokonwana. And as Dolenchek, who's struggling with that bodywork, it's going to have an impact on the race. So getting into the 1600s and the FF Kent, just to remind you what's coming up still. We've got the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race on the way. And we're looking forward to seeing some of these top cars who are gathering just for this one-off race here at the Kyalami 9 hour. In a short while, Andrew Rackstraw from GT Racing will be joining me. Give us a little update on how his weekend is going. So, and then we can see Dolenchek is really struggling. You can imagine, although these cars are reliant on their downforce, that's certainly going to have a big impact. Wonderful to have with me, alongside me here in the commentary crew, it's Andrew Rackstraw. Andrew, good afternoon. Welcome to the studio.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. Really awesome to see the series that I used to be racing now with all the youngsters that are so competitive. So it's really awesome to be watching from this viewpoint.
Listen there, that Dolan-Shek engine cover, that's certainly going to be slowing him down.
Definitely, it acts as like a little parachute. So you can see on the straight, I think it's Andy there passing Dolan-Shek. Down the straight, he'll have absolutely no top end, and in the corners it's going to really unsettle the rear, so he's doing really well to just stay on the track. And
I'm surprised look there now, there he goes, so into the pits. Unfortunately, I would have expected the stewards would have come on quickly there to say that that's a dangerous situation. It'll be interesting to see if he gets out again, but anyway, it's great to have you with us, Andrew. Tell us about GTC earlier on. Didn't quite go to plan, although you got quite far up the lineup.
Yeah, this weekend hasn't gone our way. Qualifying, we showed great potential, but just traffic every single lap. And then as well as race 1, 6th gear, as we hooked 6th gear, it wouldn't want to select any other gear. So having to race with only 5 gears is always very hard and challenging, but as soon as we get to race 2, I'm sure I'll be fighting very hard for the front.
I mean, can you go round in just 1 gear?
Not fast, not fast, not fast. But to score points is the most vital thing.
Yes.
And that's what we were looking to do.
Yeah, obviously thrilled to be here in GTC. Great to be at the 9 hour. Just your initial thoughts of the atmosphere starting to build up for a big weekend, big race day tomorrow?
Agreed. I think just our South African drivers are not used to racing at such an amazing circuit, and it's such a privilege to be here in Kyalami. So everyone's very excited. You can feel the atmosphere, and everyone's feelings are just so overwhelming. So it's very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So lap 3 of 8 here, it's still Heldenes who's leading the way in the Abacus divisions. Vehicle Nicholas van Wheelie, who's not had a great weekend, not in the top 5 at all of a sudden qualifying in 5th place and now in 2nd. Wow, he'll be thrilled with that. What's it like with racing these cars around this iconic circuit?
Absolutely incredible. You can really push these cars to the absolute limit. The biggest thing is just with these cars is the understeer. As soon as you sort out the understeer and tyre preservation, then you're going to be on. And you can see Nick, he's been racing for a long time. And compared to these youngsters, I think he's showing them how it's done.
He's a youngster himself.
Exactly.
I'm sure you won't like that. Mokokwana as well, a fantastic talent. He's been really strong in free practice and qualifying. Certainly another exciting name to watch in South African motorsport. And does the prize money and the thought of a GTC race seat play on your mind even at this kind of stage?
100%. I think they're still being very tame. Going later into the season, you'll see quite a few crashes coming together because everybody wants that prize money and the GDC test.
So 4 laps, halfway now, distance. Are we going to catch the FF Kent? So we got a spin here from the 18. Is it the 18? Yeah. Okay, looks like a little spin there. That's the Ty Robinson AF Fans late entry. Okay. So will they catch the back of the FF Kents? Will that have an impact? I mean, it's only 8 laps the race.
I don't think so. Maybe some of the back markers, but I think because of the track being so long, there's quite a long distance to catch up. But I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have any problem.
Okay.
So.
And is there one set racing line? Is there a perfect racing line for a car like this around this circuit?
There's a few different mentalities, especially the fast corners and the hairpins. It's amazing to see the drivers. They take different lines and they come out at the exact same speed. So whatever floats their boat almost is how they're going to be driving.
Well, I can tell you that the fastest man on the track right now is in 4th place. It was the young Jason Kutsia, karting champion, and he looks like he's just taken 3rd place from Mokokwana. So
Sia's fighting back, going around the outside. Oh, this is beautiful to watch.
You haven't seen this view before,
no, This is amazing.
And he's got the inside line, of course, going into barbecue. Will that count, or is it the... there we go.
Oh, very respectful racing, but close. That's what I love about 1600s.
Yeah.
You can really, compared to Formula 1, I love 1600.
Hey, listen, the Polo guys could learn some lessons from these guys, because this is open wheel racing. You don't want to
clean
touch the wheel.
racing, exactly. They're very respectful.
Is it flat through sunset?
No, I definitely think if you go flat, you'll have some ANAs in the morning.
Okay, and mine shaft?
Mine shaft? No, I don't think so. It's a very fast-flowing corner, but you have to sacrifice a lot on the left, so you don't scrub a lot on the right. It's a very technical circuit, and I can see all these youngsters are getting to it, but so impressed with Sia. He's really doing an amazing job.
Yeah, of course, and of course, the as mentioned, Kutsia, he's got the fastest lap of the race, so 1:53.7. I can tell you there's nobody else that's got into the 153s. So I think there's that karting experience coming through.
Definitely.
I mean, he is a karting champion. But I mean, this is different, surely.
He will just be wanting to get past Sia as soon as possible. I think from karting you learn so much finesse, and he's doing a great job of preserving tyres, not overdriving, just pushing the car to the absolute limit and keeping the tyre temperature in the window, which is the most important thing in these cars.
And this is a difficult corner, of course, coming up to Cheetah has been known to bite.
A big time, that curb, if you hit it, you're really going to know
On the
about
inside.
it.
On the inside, yeah, they've
Big
got like
time.
a sausage curb there.
Yes,
So
and in a single-seater you can break a lot of things just going over that.
Yeah, and some egos as well.
Exactly, and I see Jason's trying to pass Sia again, and in the background as well.
Yeah, very close racing. Sort of speeds down here, just over 200 kilometers per hour. We're hitting in these Formula 1600s. Oh, it's close there. Is there enough space? Again,
this is amazing racing to
respectful
watch.
racing, eh?
This is great.
And of course, he just surrenders because he knows he's going to. Oh, he takes the dive. Oh, it could have ended badly.
This is racing. This is what I love to watch.
Of course, what it is doing is it's allowing Geldenhuys and Van Wheelie to just stretch ahead. 5 seconds now clear of this little battle here. He's going to just give himself a breather because he's not going to overtake into Sunset. And Club, maybe some people think could be a good overtaking spot, but they're still carrying quite a bit of speed into that corner.
A lot of speed, and it's not that big of a braking zone, so you really have to commit if you're going to make that move. But I see the whole group is packing up a lot, which is going to be better for us.
I know. Look, we're focusing a lot on the 1600s, but we must just keep an eye on the FF Kents as well. We've got Hepburn in 13th, Voss in 14th, and Ian Schofield, it seems like he might have had a bit of trouble because he was leading at one point. He's down to 16th place at the moment. It's opening round of the 2023 season. The most lucrative race in the country, of course, and that GT spot. He's not going to go through there, is he? Oh, that is such a dangerous place to take it. But he's
going to have a look.
He's blocked
defending
off
from Sia.
Yeah. Okugwana seeing him come, and he's compromised now, surely, for Ingwe. Is Ingwe a good spot to overtake in a 1600?
Not at all.
So you want to set yourself up then for Crowthorne?
He'll be looking to make a move now or in the first corner. He's making a look. No, he'll save it for the next corner. After this long straight, he'll get such a nice slipstream. So I think he's playing the waiting game.
Again, a 1:53.7 is the fastest time, but he's in the 1:55s now because he's stuck, of course, behind Sia.
Making a move.
This is his chance. Look, this is the penultimate lap, so he's gonna. He's looking
I think
much
he's
more
done it.
comfortable now.
Yes.
Yeah. No, Sia's
squeezing him.
Oh, he's holding on tight here, folks. Wow.
Oh, Sia's doing an amazing job to keep everybody behind.
I mean, you can see behind the guys going off the track. How has he managed to keep it on?
I have no idea. But now Andy Schofield is coming to the party. So is a few other drivers. So I think on the last lap, it's going to get very interesting.
Yeah, it's not the kind of series that you're going to bump somebody. So he's very close on Sunset now going into Club. Again, Geldenhuys comfortably in the lead. He's 4.2 seconds ahead of Van Wheelie. Don't touch wheels. Oh, we are cringing.
I'm holding my breath.
Holding your breath. But look at that. We've got a group of 5 riders here. Then with this, and someone's going to make big risk, and it could be. We've seen a few incidents out this weekend. You can miss your braking spot, and then you cross the gravel, and then you're a passenger into the barrier wall, unfortunately.
Hopefully this doesn't end in tears. But Geldenhuys in the front is doing an amazing job. Absolutely brilliant.
You can see, look at this here. Look at all these different lines the drivers are going through. And then flat out. This must be amazing.
Flat.
I mean, how far are you off the ground in a car like this?
Everything, because you're so close to the ground, you're almost sitting on the ground. Everything feels so much faster than it is. And I think if you can drive a 1600 quick, you can jump into anything and be competitive.
We had one of our...
Sia's gone wide.
He's made a mistake there, but he still managed to hold on.
Well, this is going to be a risky move.
Oh. Here we go. Surely he's compromising his pace, but he's still keeping it on. This is unbelievable.
This is amazing racing.
Right, into the final lap. It's Geldenhuys comfortably in the lead. He probably could take his foot off the pedal a little bit. Nicholas Van Wheelie as well. And there they come now. All set to go for the Crowthorne showdown. And
Jason's going to have a look.
But Sia, he's so late on the brakes here.
He can just keep it around the outside.
I don't... Oh, slowly, boys. I don't know if he's going to get another opportunity now, Andrew.
I am almost about to have a heart attack.
And you're not even in the car. Listen,
I'm
you
not
should be
even
used
in
to
the
this.
car. This is brilliant. To watch this racing and a series that I feel so passionate about.
Yes.
So many youngsters should come into this formula.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that, but we'll talk about it after the race because I know you've got some international single-seater racing coming up as well. But let's just enjoy this final lap of the F1600, the opening round for 2023. And the FF Kents, of course, we haven't forgotten about them at the back, but the action is all up here for the final place
so
on the
exciting.
podium. Geldenhuys, he's up the hill already. He's comfortable. It's Van Wheelie in second, who's going to take the final spot on the podium.
I can't even tell you. I can't. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think he's got another opportunity. I think unless he forces a mistake out of Sia going down the mine shaft into the crocodiles.
Jason's compromising Sia's entry, so you may try have a look before you get to mine shaft, but it is going to be tight.
So it looks like Schofield, Geldenhuys in 6th and 4th have now dropped off.
Yes.
Inside line.
He's having a look.
Surely not.
He may
Play
have a look
nicely,
on the
boys.
inside as well. If Sia doesn't defend, Sia defends nicely.
Listen, we're going to take this tape. We're going to send it to some Formula One and World Rally drivers and show them
this is how you drive.
Fantastic. There we go.
This is his last opportunity.
No, he's not. He's going to just defend now.
Jason. Oh. Yeah, Sia's done a great
And look
job.
at that. Geldenhuys through the finish line to win the
Amazing.
first race of the season. Nicholas Van Wheelie in second. And Sia, he's taken the inside line to defend. Is that going to compromise him to the finish line? No, it looks like Mokanwana gets it.
Just by 2/10.
2/10 of a second, and the young karting star. And maybe this is part of it, is the karting background. That intense, close action racing
Agreed.
probably is what's given him a bit of maturity there.
Agreed. I take my hat off to them. They drove superbly. They put on such a show.
So it's Geldenhuys with the victory, but the fastest lap of the race, only man under a 54. And you're not just under it, he smashed it, a 1:53.7, the quickest lap out there. Let's give you an update in terms of the FF Kents. Hepburn, of course, then the first of the FF Kents. And we'll see the race results coming up shortly. Ian Schofield managed to recover a little bit after an earlier mistake, and Force coming through in second. Duncan Force, of course, a legendary former Dakar star. And it's great to have them as well here in this. I mean, this car must be fun, this FF Kent.
Absolutely amazing. I raced with it in England, and chatting to Rick Morris and Ian Schofield, they are just so passionate about it still, and you must watch them race as well. They don't leave any space out there.
Yeah, sorry guys, we didn't actually look. It was just so exciting for the podium. So here comes your race results then. So it is Geldenhuys then with the race of victory, the number 19 Gerard in the Abacus divisions. Coming home ahead of Nicholas Van Wheelie, who had an up and down weekend, but finishing very strong. Sia Mokanwana, we saw there holding on for everything that he had ahead of the karting star Jason Kutsia in 4th, and the other Schofield, the younger one, in 5th place. A little bit further down, you can see in 14th, Hepburn, the first of the FF Kents, ahead of Duncan Foss, the former Dakar star. And he's filling up the top 15 places there. Dolanchik, of course, in 12th, was leading early on. There we go, the final there. Schofield, Ian Schofield from InvestChem, finishing on the podium. Morris Meyer and Ronald Van Wheelie, unfortunately, not starting the race. And hopefully we'll see him tomorrow. We'll have a look at a few race highlights for you in a moment. I've got Andrew Rackstraw joining me from GT Cup. And we are looking forward to hearing a little bit more about his season in a few moments. But here we go, we got underway. And we can maybe see, look already, we've got a problem with Dolanchik's vehicle.
Bolt must have broken something come off.
Yeah, we thought maybe it was contact early on, but it actually wasn't.
No.
So we had an early spin there from Robinson, the number 18. And this was the race. This is what it was all about. Look how many times he tried.
You could not put a paper between them, is how close they were the whole race.
Coming down the mine shaft again. A very wide corner, lots of racing lines. But I see just showing some maturity. We've got to talk to these two boys because they just showed some amazing maturity in racing.
Agreed.
It's difficult not to get hot under the collar when you're so close to somebody in an open wheel car.
Yes, you feel the hot air behind them.
Coming through. All right, so going down, this is now in the final stages of, in fact, this could be the last, that was the last time through the crocodiles as Geldenhuys there. Gerard Geldenhuys in the Abacus divisions, vehicle coming through the number 19, and in second place. Then we had the second of the vehicles coming through, Van Wheelie and Van Wheelie. Right, fantastic racing, and great to have you joining us here, of course, at the Kyalami 9-hour. Andrew Rackstraw joining me live in studio. That was a chance for us to have a look and get some great insight. You missed that?
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, really good stuff. And of course, we know why this is such a popular series, and it just seems to be going year on year, stronger and stronger, and finding such stars. So, Andrew, where will some of these talents come from? I mean, will they come from karting? We know that Jason Kutsia came through from karting, but where will the other guys have come from?
They can. Most of them start in karting and then come into the single-seater route, but also lots come from quad bike racing. The Gelden Haces started in quad bike racing. So, no, they come from all different backgrounds, which is amazing to see because all the different disciplines, you can see the differences when they race these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. Their first race is now done and dusted. Let's just remind you, they're back tomorrow, and they're first up. So it's an early start then, 10 to 8 tomorrow, the second race in the InvestChem F1600. And all set to go then for day 2 here at the Kyalami 9-hour and the Motorsport Festival as well. Andrew, thank you. It's great to have you with us. You've got to stay with us, though, because we're dying to know a little bit about your race day. So while we have a chance now, GTC got underway. Did you have a little incident with Michael van Rooyen? Did it happen in front of you? Or what happened?
No, I actually saw that on video and I felt offended. I didn't touch him at all. No, just two different incidents completely. So, yeah, just an unfortunate accident for him. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't talk to him. But for me, it was just stuck in 6th gear and I couldn't do anything about it.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in action tomorrow. You're going to stay with us for a moment because we want to hear about your plans for next year. My colleague Ricky, who's been down in the pit lanes all day, has a little chat with one of the competitors, and we'll be back in a short while. Stay with us.
Nicholas Herbst, who I found fascinating, this whole story, because you are racing with your dad, right? Craig Herbst is your dad.
That's right.
I want to hear how it started, how long have you been racing, all the juicy details.
Yeah, so Craig and I have been really kind of petrol heads ever since I was kind of came into life. I think I said I'm going to have a petrol head son and build cars in the garage and race and do whatever makes boys happy. We've been fans of BMW for a long time. Craig worked for BMW, so we've had a really good passion for it. About late 2019, we decided that we were going to get into the sport. So for Craig's birthday, we decided to take my road car all the way to Pekisa for a time trial event, and we decided to go there and say, cool, let's go for the time trial series. And we had a great time, and we said we've got to start racing.
That's amazing. It really just sounds like such a bonding experience between father and son, and just such a nice way to get involved in motorsport. Tell me about how competitive the two of you are and who's the better driver.
I think, after a race, if we haven't had any crashes or things like that, it'll be a great time. I think we're both very competitive, but I think we keep it fairly clean on the track. We certainly haven't had any comings together, which is lucky. But yeah, certainly both very competitive, and I think I think we've had 1 or 2 races where we've been neck and neck, keeping it clean. And I think if we came home and had to tell the family that we put the car together and some broken, nasty fenders, there'd be certainly some unhappiness there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wanted to ask you about the numbers because it's 30-31 and I thought that was on purpose. So how did that happen?
So we chose like a random number in the beginning because we were actually sharing a car. We had a single car, so we had this random number 733. We then decided to build a second race car so we could both race. And we said to Bernard, are there any 2 numbers available that we could just choose? And they said, let's go through the entire list. And he eventually gets to 30 and says, 30 and 31 are available. I said, okay, cool. We're that. Craig being the older one, well, hopefully he looks like that. And he got 30 and I got 31.
I love this whole story because I think I kind of wish it was me and my dad, Absolutely love it. You're both in the same class. So, I mean, obviously you're trying to push that. Do you think one of you is going to change classes this race?
I think Craig at the moment is actually driving what he calls his kind of his loan or his rental. So he's got a car being built right now in his garage, a really nice quick car. So I'm going to be a little bit jealous. The tears are going to stop being shed because he's going to go really fast, probably to go to Class C, Class B maybe. So he's building really a dream kind of race car. So that might be ready in the next couple of months. And once that point comes, I think he's unfortunately going to have the legs on me and start disappearing.
Well, you're just going to have to build one of your own.
Absolutely. Got to take the fight to him.
Yeah, you got to up the game when he ups the game. All right, guys, thank you so much. Let's check out what's happening in studio.
So welcome back to the Kyalami 9-hour on circuit right now. Our VIPs getting a nice hot lap. Lots of Mercedes. They're beautiful cars. I've got Andrew Rackstraw joining me. He's racing GTC. Some pretty nice cars out there, Andrew.
Very nice cars. I would love to be in these VIPs.
Look at this
Nice McLaren.
Beautiful. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciated that little insight you had into the 1600s. Tell us about your aspirations and your plans for the year. You're going to be racing internationally single-seaters this year.
I will be. I'll be doing a few international races. The biggest thing is just it's so hard with varsity as well as racing. So I'm in my final year, so it is hard. But I've definitely confirmed a few Formula Ford races in England, as that's where my passion is. But as some other racing in terms of LMP3 we're also looking at, which is very exciting.
Wow.
So I look forward to this year. It's going to be a good year, I can tell.
What are you studying?
BCom in digital marketing.
Wow. All right. So coming towards the end of that, racing here in GTC as well. Heard that you might change your vehicle through the year. What's the story there? Or is it unconfirmed?
No. So it was a very late decision in terms of the BMW won't be ready, which is a 128 Ti hatchback. So it will be nice to get BMW back into the series. So I got put into the Golf for, I think, 2 races, and then I'll be in the BMW.
Okay, so this round and one more round.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Sounds exciting. And I believe you won't be the only one on the grid that'll be in a BMW, so we'll keep quiet about that. But watch this space. And I think it's part of GTC is this constant development of the series. Just quickly, Toyota Corolla's looking quite dominant at the moment. Very good for the sport, of course.
Agreed. I think it's amazing to have all these different series makes, car makes into the series. And I mean, the racing is good and it's very competitive. I mean, anyone who hasn't driven the car, it is very, very hard to get used to. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think the future for GDC does look very bright. There's some interesting things coming forward. So yeah, I look forward to it.
So next up for you, a bit of studies, maybe an exam or 2 and an overseas trip?
Yeah, I leave to England in about a month, but I think I get back and I have a Formula VW race in Cape Town, just the regionals, and then the next weekend karting regionals, and then the following week I fly to England. Very busy.
But you're thrilled.
I am, of course. Every time I get into any race car, it is just the best feeling ever.
Yeah, listen, all the best for tomorrow. Just quickly, feeling more confident about tomorrow's race after a bit of a difficult start to the weekend?
No, definitely. I think with very limited testing, we're showing lots of potential, and the car will be there, and we will bring the fight to the Toyotas. So I look forward to it.
Andrew, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Andrew Rackstraw there in GTC. Fantastic to have him with us. I've got Michael van Rooyen from the Toyota Gazoo Racing team joining me in a short while. Of course, fantastic to have these young, a little bit not so young racing stars joining us here. Out on track at the moment, the hot laps taking place. These are our guests who are joining the various cars. We've got a couple of Porsches. There we saw McLaren, Mercedes. We've been doing a little bit of a competition. Here comes the McLaren. It's a beauty. Unfortunately, no McLaren's on the start line for our final race of the day, the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. But we do have something really special coming up for us tomorrow, just between our support races and, of course, the Kyalami 9 Hour. We've got an historic demonstration, the likes of Jackie Schechter in a Ferrari 360, Colin Ellison in a Chevron. There's a Ford Thunderbolt, a Ford Mustang, a couple of BMWs and Porsches, and a Ford Thunderbolt from Christopher Radloff as well. So that's coming up for us tomorrow at around 11:30, a half-an-hour demonstration. Joining me here in the hot seat, Mr. Michael van Rooyen, Toyota Gazoo factory racing team driver. Mike, how are you? All right? Good. Mike, these youngsters are taking over.
So I was just mentioning that I'm between teenagers here. So they're keeping me busy, and I've got to pull some finger for tomorrow, that's for sure.
But where often do you get this kind of opportunity, these youngsters, to learn from yourself who's been around and in the series for a while?
Well, I hope I can add some value for them, and I think they build up quite a lot through the weekend, and I hope that's where I come in and I give them some advice and just show them in the right direction. But they're super fast, and it's actually very, very nice to compete with them.
Yes, they're so young, they've got to go home and do their homework now.
Yes, they have got it. They already left, that's why I'm here.
Listen, you've been in GTC, it's a 7th season now, so you've got the best view of GTC. So your thoughts of this new year?
I think it's very exciting. We're seeing some new manufacturers in the series. I think there's a BMW coming again. Yeah. And there's an Audi, there's a VW. So I think we would have had a good growth this season. Unfortunately, Julian had a big accident yesterday in the Ford. Yeah. So he's probably ruled out for a couple of months at least. But I think there's a few cars in the making, and I think we should be able to get 8 cars on the grid very soon. And I think it's going to be 8 competitive cars, which would make it very, very nice.
Yeah, just quickly tell us about your race. Had a spin, or what happened out there?
So we've been battling with brake knockoff a little bit this weekend, and up to West Bank and down in Mineshaft. My front pads go a little bit off from the disc, and as soon as I hit the brakes, then I've got a lot more bias to the rear, and I could manage it through the weekend a little bit, but it caught me a little bit off guard, and it gave me a good spin through the mine shaft, unfortunately.
A scary moment.
Yes, it was unfortunate. I was lying third, and I was actually thinking that I was catching the 2 in front.
Yeah.
So I was pushing a little bit harder as well, and I think that's where the mistake came in.
Absolutely. Toyota Gazoo Racing, it's become, a household name over the last few years, whether it's from Dakar Rally, World Rally Championship fans will be knowing about what's happening there. It just feels like the brand is strong, and you go along to the pits here, people want to go and see Toyota Gazoo Racing. So it feels like it's on the up in a fantastic place.
No, it's wonderful. It's nice to have the cars here as well. There's a Supra and a Yaris and 86 on display. There's the new cars that are coming, the Gazoo Racing cars that have been launched. Hopefully there's a Corolla like ourselves being launched soon in South Africa, which is quite exciting. It's an extremely good looking car. And the brand is just exploding in South Africa in particular, and worldwide the same. So yes, hopefully we can give them the exposure that they deserve.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of being involved in motorsport.
No, for sure. I think that's where the brand wants to be. That's what the brand is about, and we just got to be leading. That's all.
Well, you're leading today.
Yes. Well, yeah. Hopefully. And hopefully we can. I think I'm starting from pole tomorrow, so hopefully I can keep it there.
Well, the main race, GTC, of course, coming up at 20 to 11 tomorrow. I just want to quickly have a quick word about the Super Cups, because amazing talent coming through there. Jonathan Machotsi looking very, very strong. Keegan Campos, Brad Liebenberg. Wow, that's a rich tapestry of racing.
No, for sure. Bradley was in GTC last year, so great talent. And a lot of youngsters there as well who wants to make name, and hopefully we can see them in GTC as well in the future.
Yeah, and just a final comment, Kyalami 9 Hour. back once again this year, and feeling quite special out there. Like it's a significant year for us.
For sure, it's a wonderful international event. It's great to be part of it, and I hope the crowds come out tomorrow, because I think it's going to be a very good race.
Yeah. Listen, all the best for your race tomorrow. Thanks for chatting to us. Appreciate
Thanks so
your time.
much.
So Michael van Rooyen there is part of the Toyota Gazoo racing team, and we are looking forward to seeing him in action, as well as Andrew Rackstraw. We heard from him a bit earlier, and they will be featuring tomorrow at 20 to 11. It's a jam-packed program. We kick off at 10 to 8 with the InvestChem 1600s and the FF Kent. We've got the BMW Performance Parts Race Series at 25 past 8. The Mobil 1 V8 Series at 9 o'clock, and the Comcare Polo Cup. We've got a couple more hop laps, and then we get back into the racing for the GTCs. As mentioned earlier, historic races. We've got a Schecter. Yeah, he'll be racing an iconic Ferrari as well. Out on track at the moment, it's the VIP hot laps. Oh, look at this Ford Mustang Thunderbolt. Beautiful. One of the cars that will be featured in the upcoming races in the historic demonstration tomorrow. So that's just after 11:30. Let's just remind you, we've had the Kyalami 9-hour qualifying. There is a question mark. Those stewards are looking at one or two decisions, and we will get confirmation in a short while. But we're going to turn our attention to a very special race here on this Friday evening in Johannesburg. A stunning evening. It's been a warm day, and it is the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race. We've got some of the iconic cars of South African GT taking part. They've gathered for a special race. Guys have travelled up from Cape Town. We've got local Johannesburg races, and they've joined us as well. And they'll be competing in this, what was an hour-long race. It's now going to be 2 30-minute races, and that's coming up in a while. So 2 30-minute races coming up for us, and then a little break in between. That's the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. So as the hot laps continue, we've got very special guests here. The Van Wheelies joining us in a moment. Just fresh off the track, Nicholas. Where was that pace all week long?
Well, we've kind of started in a new car this season, so
yes,
we've been learning the car all weekend. I haven't done much testing, so I've been slowly building up to this weekend. So qualifying wasn't great. We made a whole lot of changes for the race, and they've clearly worked. So
yeah, you didn't have much lap time either in free practice 1 and 2. So did you have problems? Was it just finding the setup?
No, it was just finding the setup. I mean, we knew it was in the car. Just had to find the right setup to get it all done.
And Dad, what happened?
Unfortunately, warm-up lap, broke a side shaft. So it's the worst luck you can have. But I had to pull in, and that's it. You know, you got nowhere to go. So I was looking forward to it.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear, man. We were really looking forward to seeing you out on there. But you'll be back tomorrow?
Definitely, yeah. We'll be back with the car, side shaft fixed and ready to go.
Hey, such a pity, hey?
Yeah.
Of course, the 1600s is an iconic series in South African motorsport. The Van Wheelies feels like it's been around for ages.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's I think I've raced for at least 40 years.
Wow.
And Nicholas has been since the age of 15.
Yeah, so I've also been around a good 15, 20 years nearly now. So it's been a long time, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've won the championship a couple of years ago as well. So we've come back, and we always enjoy it. It's always good racing, so we have to have a go.
It's interesting hearing the stories from the pit lanes, the BMWs, the V8s, the Polos. Everyone seems to find their little groove. So what's it about this little bullet that's open-wheeled, and it's your buttocks is just a little few centimeters off the ground that keeps you coming back?
Well, once you've driven a single-seater, then you only realize what it's like. I've driven saloon cars. I raced saloon cars. And once you get in these little things, they're so light and they go like a rocket. So it's, you know, it weighs nothing. So the power, you don't need a lot. But the cornering and the braking is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, you know, a lot of corners you can almost go to the 25 meter or 50 meter at least. You know, you don't have to put on the brakes at never before the 150. You know what I mean? So you'll go past 150, you go to 100, even at the bottom of the straight here, I can get to the 50 meter before I
brake,
climb on the brake. So I don't know where Nicholas and them are getting on the brakes.
No, we're a bit further. We're about the 100 meter board, but it's still exhilarating. You know, the cars are so lively.
Yeah.
They're just so exhilarating to drive.
Yeah. What would be a top speed for you boys down here?
At the moment, we're getting about 210 at the bottom of the straight there.
Hey,
So.
that much off the ground,
Yeah.
so low, that must be incredible.
No, they're incredible. It's just.
Is that why you can't go anywhere else?
No, look, we also there's budget constraints to go to bigger cars, so you know we can only afford to do this at the moment, so that's what we do. But I mean, we have a great. I mean, obviously, if there's opportunities to get in bigger cars, we will. But that's the way it is.
So I wanted to ask you. We were chatting earlier to some of the other series drivers. I mean, is there a perfect line around this racetrack? You've been both riding this racetrack for a long time. You've seen changes. Is there a perfect race line? Because the corners are so wide.
Yeah, I think at the older version there was a perfect line. At the new version, there's quite a few lines I think you can take. I mean, I think if you watched the onboards between the lines I was taking and the leader, we were completely different, but yet we were matching each other. So I think it's just you've got to find it to your preference, and that's it.
Different racing lines?
Well, yeah, for us it's more about carrying as much corner speed as possible because our engines are less powerful.
Yes.
You know, we're running the old Kent engine, 1600, so we got a lot less horsepower, but therefore we try and carry the more corner speed, the less you have to pull it out of the corner. So you try and carry as much speed as possible. So that's what it's about.
Any struggle up to the top there at Westbank?
Not really. No, because the first and second S, you can almost, you've got a bit of a lift and then it's flat. You know, first S, second S, up to the top.
Beautiful.
The mine shaft is flat for us. You know, so it's really exciting.
And Sunset?
Sunset is still a bit of a lift. And then flat, you know what I mean? I'm sure some people...
You lifting?
Yeah, we've got a lift, but I mean, it's a lift and then it's flat. I mean, if you look at the data, it's only a slight lift. So it's just to sort of get the car settled. That's all it is for, you know what I mean? And then we flat out and it's just controlling it through there.
And the track surface, is it quite abrasive? I mean, this is a world-class circuit. So what does it do to your tyres on these small cars?
No, it's not abrasive at all. But obviously through the weekend, as more cars have gone round, it's rubbered in and it's got grippier and grippier. So, you can feel the grip level increasing all the way through the weekend.
Yeah, and the FF Kent seems like a couple of diehards that just want to keep going and don't want to stop.
Yeah, I mean, all us Kent drivers except for Graham Hepburn.
Yes.
I think he's the only, he's not a youngster anymore, but he's a youngster as far as the rest of us older guys are going. We all way over 60, so it's something that you want to do all the time. You know, if I stand and watch him, I just think of myself, well, I want to get in there, you know what I mean? So, and it's great, to run... Yeah. With your own son, to race in the same categories, they're in the top category. Yes. For us, it's more of a having fun and that sort of thing. But we still push as hard as we can and as fast as we can.
Yeah. I've got to ask you quickly, is the prize money in the back of the head at all?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean,
there we go.
It's always there. Yeah, it's always there. I mean, we don't look at the championship throughout the year, but obviously that's the goal. You know what I mean? The goal is to get... You want to be number one, and the prize money is just the bonus. I mean, you can't not deny that.
Yeah, amazing. Listen, it's great to have you. The Van Wheelies feels like you've been around for it. Well, you have been around.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry. And just a final comment. I mean, the series looking healthy and strong. It just seems like I think InvestChem's investment continues to keep it right up there front, and everybody wants to be part of it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. I mean, what Ian's doing for the formula in InvestChem and that. The formula is growing great. I mean, it's the place where everybody needs to be. It's the starting point for everybody's career. If you look at everybody who's started in these sort of cars, and it projects you. I mean, it's just a great series. Everything's growing, and it's a great place to be.
Some of you can't leave.
No,
some of us can't leave. But hopefully, you can get to GTC, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well, of course, that's the big prize. Of course, not only are you getting I think last year was 200,000 rand.
It's again this year.
It's the same 200,000.
Yeah.
But of course, there's the opportunity to test in a GTC, and we've seen some of the drivers.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we had a terrible year last year. We wanted to do it, but it just didn't work out. It happens in racing. So come back and this year, and that's the goal.
Yeah. Listen, thanks so much for your time. Hey, I know you've just come off out of the cars, and you joined me, so I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Good night's rest, and all the best for tomorrow morning. We'll chat
Thank
to
you.
much.
Thanks
you,
a
guys.
lot.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Ronald and Nicholas Van Wheelie. Nicholas referring to a difficult 2022. Certainly the man to keep an eye out for. He really struggled in early free practice, but started 5th on the grid. He made it up into 2nd. Unfortunately, Ronald didn't quite make it even to the grid. Had a problem early on in the race. We continue to enjoy the hot laps out on the track, taking some of our guests in these beautiful, look at that AMG Mercedes. They've got a stand here in the Kyalami 9-hour Motorfest area, and your chance to have a look there at some of their stunning vehicles. In fact, when I arrived earlier in the week, those cars had just been, they were still wrapped. They weren't even unwrapped as Christmas presents. And yeah, they are. First time to come and see. There's some stunners. You don't want to miss it. So the fest continues. The pits are quieting down a bit because we are getting ready for the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race coming up for you in about 30 minutes or so. A quick run through of your schedule for tomorrow. We're getting underway at 10 to 8. It's the InvestChem F1600 and FF Kent. We'll see the Van Wheelies back in action. BMW M Performance Parts Race Series is at 25 past 8. Mobile 1 V8 Series is back at 9 for race 2. Comcare Polo Cup at 9:35. The GTCs, we heard from Michael van Rooyen and Andrew a bit earlier, Andrew Rackstraw. They'll be back in action at 22:11. We've got the historic race, the car demonstration taking place at 11:30. Hey, we're just warming up because, of course, we've still got the Kyalami 9-hour on the way. Make sure you follow our socials. Stay up to date both on YouTube and live on Supersport. And can't wait for tomorrow's action.
check the weather for that. It is all down. Which one are
Now
Welcome back to the Kyalami 9 Hour. As the sun is about to set over the next hour, we get ready for our final race. In fact, it's already underway. The Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series, inviting drivers from the Western Cape, Eastern Cape and Gauteng to join in this one-off race as a celebration to wrap up day 1 year at the Kyalami 9 Hour Motorsport Festival. Beautiful surroundings, a bit quiet out for the last little while as we had a couple of VIP laps, and then it was the still before the storm as here come these iconic vehicles. We've got a number of well-known names on the track at the moment. In total 20 races going around, and they've just got themselves underway. Let's go through the field. Just to remind you, initially put it down for an hour-long race, but with some of the cars that are not featured, not used to doing endurance racing, they just don't have big enough fuel tanks. So it's changed now, and we've got 2 30-minute races. So the first now underway, and you can see 28 minutes left, and it is Franco Scribanti who's currently leading the pack. Franco's in the Sports B category. The number 25, Franco Carlo Scribanti, Chevron B26, leading the way. But he hasn't been the man on pole position. The man to look out for has been the Botma, the Legier, who's looks like he could take the lead quite soon. He's hot on the heels. In fact, he's fallen back a little bit now as the front runners come through. So Botma in the Legier in the 53 into second. Zili in the Speeds RS12. And there's the first laps of the race. 155.3 for Scribanti. Wasn't on pole, so expecting Botma to close the gap quite quickly. We've got a number of classes to look out for here, and I'll go through it quickly for you how they're separated. We've got the GT class, firstly. These are cars that are 2012 and newer. So cars to look out for in the Sports A class include Sam Hammond in the Lambo Super Trofea. In the GTA, we've got Isak Spiss in the McLaren MP4. We've got Nicky Dix in the Porsche GT3. Franco Di Matteo in the Deltec Batteries Ford Mustang GT. Mo Mia, who's in the Toyota RS Porsche 911. And Ricky Giannicario in the G&H Transport Lamborghini Hurricane. Those are some of your GTA cars. They are 2012 and newer. 2011 and older, we've got GTB. It's the likes of Richard Fuller in the Ford Falcon. Kishore Patamba joining up with Stuart Kidgill, and they're in the Ferrari 360. GTB, we've also got the likes of Rolf Duplessis in the Ultimate Outlaws Chev Holden, and GTB for Roy Obery in the Haval Edenvale Porsche 997. So 20 cars on track at the moment. Mixed between GT and the sports car. The sports car category. Sorry, I didn't touch on the GTCs. That's your 1990 and older. And we've got a couple of stunning cars on track. From Philip Meyer, he's got a Porsche 924 GTR. We've also got Andre van der Merwe, who's got one of the replica 1974 Porsches, the 911s. This one's got the carburetors, though. It's the Evapco SA Porsche 911. And Stefan Puchavez, he's got the original Porsche 911. He's got it in the colors of Michael Schumacher's Benetton. He told me it's basically the same car, except he's got a 3.5 litre engine. And we've got, looks like Botma that is slowing down. He started on pole position. He's got his hands in the air. Looks like he's going to be going into the pits. So not a great start there for your pole man. So that was GT A, B, and C. So A is 2012 and newer. 2011 backwards is your B class. And 1990 and older, we've got your GTCs. Great to see them here at the Kyalami 9 Hour. Of course, the sun will be going down over the next hour. And these cars getting to give us a little foretaste of what to expect tomorrow evening in the full race in the 9 Hour. By the way, we'll get to that grid in a moment, the 9 Hour. That's now official, so we'll come to that in a short while. The sports classes, there's no A class today. That's your 3.5 litre engine cars and bigger. There's no taking part in that sports A class, but plenty in sports B. Dion Duplessis in the KTM Expo RR, the number 2 KTM. He did have a problem, so I'm not sure if he's actually made the start. No, he is there. He's currently running in 12th place, did a 2:05 on the last lap. In the sports B, we've also got Franco Scribanti, who is leading currently. He's in the Chevron B26. This car takes part in the likes of the Samola Hill Climb, and he loves this car. Won't let this one go. Mike Verreria in the Shelby Can-Am is number 45 in the B class in the sports. Ishmael Peck is in the Lotus 7, and we've got Glenton Rebello joining up with Anton Miller in the Birkin Lotus 7 as well, car number 731. And finally then the Sports C class. These are your vehicles that are less than 2 litres, so B class is 2 to 3.5 litre engines. As Franco Sprunti comes through the line once again, he's got Zili right behind him. And Zili pulling out a quicker lap there, 1:49.7, closing the gap to Franco. Franco top speeding down the main straight, just on 240 k's per hour. GTC, as mentioned, we've got the cars that are sports less than 2 litres in size, Sport C class. We've got Trevor Frost in a Leger JS53 Evo. We've got Rian Bortma in a Leger 53. Mikael Patemba in a Leger JS53 Evo 2. And Peter Zili currently running second in the Speeds RS12. So we're going to keep an eye out on the racing. We've had our pole man out already. If he's picked up a little niggle, he'll want to sort it out ahead of race 2 coming up for us a little bit later on. The Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series, a one-off race, inviting drivers from around the country to come and enjoy the track. Fans have stayed. We can see the banks up above Barbecue and Sunset, enjoying some of these classic GT and sports cars going around the track. 20 on circuit. In fact, we've down to a few less now. A couple of cars have actually stopped, so we've got 16 cars in the field. Patumba in the Ferrari 360 running at the back of the field. A lap down already. Lapping just over 2 minutes now here, and it's Patumba in the Leger, the number 17, that's gone quicker, a 1:48.4, but he's 4.6 seconds back of Scribanti out in the lead of the race. The Wild Rose Gin SA Sports and GT Car Series coming to you from the Kyalami 9 Hour, part of the 9 Hour Festival, and 2 half-hour races rather taking part. And this is because some of the cars just don't have an engine big enough to be able to do an hour-long race. So we're underway now. We've got 22 minutes left in the race. We've got a yellow flag out on the track at the moment. Oh, and is that Patumba? It is. Patumba was looking so strong early on. He got himself up into 3rd place at one point, but he's dropping down the standings now. The number 17. The Rico Barlow Racing Leger Evo 2. Started on pole position for Sport C class, but looks like he's going to be out of the race. And of course, with 2 half-hour races to come, if you've got a little niggle, you're going to want to get back to the pits and sort it out as quick as possible. Ooh, you can hear the V8 going past the pit lane. Patumba dropping down the starting grid there now. The lineup there down into 9th place at the moment. It's Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. 21 minutes left in this race. There'll be a short break in between as we see the beautiful KTM going through the number 2 on the start line. Right, here's the Ford Mustang coming in to picture. Some beautiful cars here. And Franco Di Matteo there, you can see the branding just on the top of the windscreen, looking for, it's not a good place to overtake there. Oh, but he's found a gap on Sunset. Obviously named for the way that you turn the corner and the sun's peeking into your eyes as he makes his way to club. Franco Di Matteo. He's got a couple of roles this weekend. He's racing, of course, in the Mobil 1 V8 series, and he's got some duties in the Kyalami 9 Hour as well. Through the S's for Di Matteo. Sitting in 8th place currently. His last lap was a 1:59.031, so breaking under the 2-minute mark. As Franco Scribanti continues to lead the way, doing a 1:50, so dropped off the pace a little bit in that last lap. Gives us a chance to have a look at the grid then for the Kyalami 9 Hour as we get underway here at the first of 2 races in the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. So if you missed it out a bit earlier, this is the starting grid for the 9 Hour tomorrow. It's the 999 Mercedes AMG Team Group M racing. Mercedes, it's on pole position with Mauro Engel, Michael Grenier and Rafael Masciallo. Second race in a row for them this season, starting on pole position. Second, local fans will like this, Sheldon van der Linde and the Team WRT BMW with Dries van Toor and Charles Wirtz in second place. The second BMW then in 3rd place, ahead of the 2 Audis of Attempto Racing. The Drudy, Feller and Niederhauser. 66 Audi in 4th, ahead of 99 Zatemto Racing's Marcus Winkelhock, Dennis Marshall and Alex Akka. The Sun Energy with Jules Guignon has been the fastest throughout the weekend, but they're all the way back. First Pro-Am in 6th place, ahead of Grove Racing, the Porsche in 7th. SBS Automotive Performance, Mercedes in 8th place, ahead of the South African team of Charles Arungis, Arnold Neveling and Clint Weston. Stradali Motorsports 86 in 9th. MJR Motorsport in 10th, ahead of the Pablo Clark Racing NGK, Mikael Patemba in 11th. Bigfoot Racing, Express Racing, Sun Woodley in 12th, ahead of MJR Motorsport at the rear of the field. That's your starting lineup for the Kyalami 9 Hour, getting underway at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Just over 18 minutes left here at the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. Still Franco Scribanti leading the way. He's got a 2.8 second gap now on Zili in second. Unfortunately, we've had a few casualties early on. We started with 20 cars. We're down to 16 at the moment. Botma in the 78 Leger was leading early on. He's pulled up with a bit of a problem. Rather get it sorted out. Hopefully we can be back for the second race. These cars made up of local racers coming through from the Western Province. We know some from Aldo Scribanti's racetrack down in Nelson Mandela Bay. Of course, Gauteng as well. Being invited to this one-off race here at the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Very diverse category, of course. Got 6 categories in total, but 5 competing here this evening. In 1 of 2 races, there'll be a short break between the 2 as the cars have an opportunity to get themselves ready for race 2, getting underway a little bit later on. A run through tomorrow's schedule for you then at the Kyalami 9 Hour. We get underway nice and early at 10 to 8 with the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent. Of course, we spoke to the Van Wheelies a little bit earlier. Oh no! What is going on with our race leaders? It's Franco Scribanti who's slowed down. It looks like he's coming down the mine shaft. And that's the second of our front runners now out. Slowing down, going into the Crocodiles. And he'll just be looking to get around to the pits to see if he can resolve that issue. Still showing second because, of course, he was quite far ahead of the... Oh, and we've got the Lamborghini that's spun there as well, facing the wrong way. That's the Lambo Super Trofea Trinity Protection Services, driven by Sam Hammond in the GTA class. Can he get it started? Just put... Oh, got the foot down a bit too early. We know what that feels like. Wanting to get the power down quickly, and unfortunately, he's spun. Beautiful Porsche coming down into mine shaft there. Stunning views. You can see the sun setting. We have a beautiful Kyalami. So lots of changes out in the front. Franco Scribanti now coasting to the pits, hoping to see if he can get back. The car sorted out ahead of the last race, or the second race here at the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. So Peter Zili then is leading the way in the Zili Auditors Speeds RS12. Just lap time still under the 150s. He did a 149.7. Not like the qualifying times. They were down in the 145s, 146s earlier on today. And you think with cooler conditions, might get a bit faster, but thinking of the endurance part of this race, with 15 minutes to go, we're halfway through now. And we still got a number of competitors out in the course. We started with 20. Looks like we're down to 14 now, as the fastest lap of the race, it's Patemba. So it looks like he's come back in there, the number 17. He did a 148.4. We'll see if we can get an eye on him on the course. So Patemba back onto the track. That is the number 17. The Rico Barlow Racing Leger with the fastest lap of the race so far, 148.4. Still Zili leading the way ahead of now Dix, the Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2 car in second place. And it's Mia with the Porsche 911 in third at the moment. Different classes there, of course. Zile in the GT, in the Sports C rather category. GTA for Dix and GTA for Mia. Those are your top 3 cars running at the moment. Oh, and there it is, the 1974 Porsche, the Le Mans replica. You'll see it just come through now. There it is. It's in Michael Schumacher's Benetton Formula One colors, the green and blue. And speaking to Stefan Pochevaz earlier, he was telling us about how he's built this car to be a replica of that 1974 Le Mans winning car. And he managed to get the 911 race number as well to go on the 911. But he was very quick to point out that it's not identical. It's got a 3.5 litre, unlike the original, which was a 3 litre. One of two 1974 Porsches here on in the race today. And this is Pochevaz up into 10th place at the moment. Oh, and he's loving it. A man who's driven this track in all its forms. It's wonderful to have him here sharing the stories of this iconic track, and of course that beautiful wide base at the back there, cover wheel arches over those big wide back tires. Well, earlier on today, Ricky had the chance to chat to the Rico Bala Racing team, the Leger of Mikhail Patemba. A little bit earlier on today, Ricky had this for us.
Okay, Gareth, I'm standing with Kishore Patemba, and I must say I was expecting to see you on track, but you look very smart, and so I assume that you're not going onto track. Why is that?
Okay, I'm not actually going to track now because Dr. Stuart Kitchell's in the car. And during qualifying he had a little bit of an incident and spun the car around, so we want to give him as much seat time as possible in the car.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So I know that you've got two cars going out, and one of them is your son. How does that feel to have your son racing with you?
Always very, very stressful. I know he's actually, he can do this thing, but unfortunately this time around, what happened was at qualifying we had a bit of an issue with the fuel tank, and he could not qualify, so he's starting at the back of the grid, but he'll work his way up. It's a 30-minute race, and I'm sure he'll do well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always there's time to come back and do his best, and you work with what you've got, so that's amazing. How does it feel, though, I must ask as a dad, to see your son on track, and it must be nerve-wracking potentially what could happen. How do you feel?
Well, I guess for any parent, it's actually very scary out there when your little one's on the track. But again, you get used to it. Mikhail's been actually racing for the last 14 years, starting off with a kart. So I think he's pretty used to this. I think his mum probably stresses a bit more. That's why she's never around to come and watch him. She watches it from the live timing. But as a parent, you're always scared.
Yeah, I would do the same thing as her. Watch afterwards once everything is fine. Thank you so much for being here. Can we expect to see you on the track again or not for this race?
Not for this race, but possibly next week.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thanks, Gareth. Good. We'll see you in studio.
Thank you, Ricky. Of course, that's the Rico Bala Racing team. Mikhail Patemba in the 17, and unfortunately 7 laps behind. He was quickest on track in the Leger, but had the problem, so he's out. But the number 13, Rico Bala Racing in the GTB category, is still out there at the moment. A little bit off the pace. He's running in the 205s at the moment. That is in the Ferrari 360. Just over 10 minutes to go. Just getting some more updates from the pits. Richard Fuller, who this weekend is taking part in the Mobil 1 V8 Series race, as well as hoping to take part in this Wild Rose SA Sports Car Series. Did plenty of practice time and qualifying, but unfortunately, he sent me a photograph of a rear wheel miss. In fact, no wheel, no brakes, nothing. Looks like the whole shaft is broken, so that looks like Richard's not going to be able to get that back, unfortunately, for tomorrow's races. He was so hoping to have as much track time as possible. Hasn't worked out there for Richard Fuller. So that was the Idem2 GB Oil Ford Falcon. Had a problem early on in the weekend. Qualified second in his class, but unfortunately not to be. And they've been falling, unfortunately. We've had 2 of our leaders dropping out, Franco Scribanti being one of them. He was comfortably leading, put his hand up and has gone straight into the pits. And we're hoping that he'll be back for the second race. Just under 10 minutes to go now. It's still Zili in the Speeds RS12. He's lapping comfortably in the 151s, 152s. He's got a nice gap over the GTA car of Dix in the Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2, the number 37. And good to see that the Trinity Protection Services Lambo Super Trofeo that spun earlier down at the Crocodiles, Sam Hammond, he's got back up and going, so running along nicely. So just 11 cars left, and it's been a brutal race. Of course, it's an endurance race. It originally planned to be an hour-long race, but with some of the cars not having big enough fuel tanks, they've resorted to 30-minute races. So just over 9 minutes, we'll take a break, and then we'll hear some more from what's happening down from our team in the pits, from some earlier interviews, and then we're back for round 2 of this, a once-off race at the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT, a 6:30 start. For those of you in the Gauteng area, you're going to want to be here early tomorrow, because we get underway at 10 to 8. It's the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent starting us off first. 8:25, the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Then that's a star-studded field. 51 BMWs were on the grid this morning. We might, in fact, this afternoon, we might have a few less come tomorrow morning. The Mobile 1 V8 Series. Mobile 1, of course, coming on board for the 5th year now. That race comes away at 9 o'clock. And the Comcare Polo Cup was full of incidents this morning. Gets underway at 25 minutes away from 10. And then GTC Round 2. As we've got another spin here on the track at the moment, with just over 8 minutes to go. Looks like we can't the car got going again. Don't see any yellow flags out just yet. Some close racing here between two iconic Porsches going through into the S's. And there's one of those replicas, the 74. That is Andre van der Merwe. He's also got one of those replica Porsches, but it's the 1974 Le Mans Porsche, but not the original engine. This one's got the carburetors in it. He's looking for the inside line there, going into the top of Leeuwkop, the old West Bank corner. Oh, putting down the power early. It's a tight line to go through. Oh, and we've got one of the faster cars behind them. Should get to them before the Mineshaft corner. Oh, it's going to be tight through there. That's a wise decision to back off. They go flying down into a corner that's claimed a few victims this weekend, the famous Crocodiles. Just over 7 minutes to go. As mentioned, Andre van der Merwe, one of 2 1974 Porsche replicas from the famous 1974 Le Mans race. The other one, of course, being Stefan Potjovez, with the pretty much almost original, except for the engine being a 3.5 litre. Right, coming to the closing stages now of the race as Zili comes through. It's Rian Bortman, the number 78, Legier, the 53 going past. It's still Dix in second. Nicky Dix in the Porsche GT3 Curvin-sponsored car. Had a good weekend so far. Look at that KTM just passing there. Now this is classic GT sports car racing for you. They love their sports cars down in the Western Cape, and great to have some of those drivers and their cars making the journey up here to the iconic Kyalami 9-hour. Peter Zili going through there, and we still got the top 3. Well, in fact, the gap looks a bit tight there between the first 2. It's Zili leading Dix there at the moment. Mia up into 3rd, and then quite a gap back to the rest of the field. Just over 20 cars starting the race. Unfortunately, a couple of incidents and guys looking to see if they can quickly fix a little problem that they've got on the car. So we're down to 11 cars at the moment. We could have something returning, of course, for the second race coming up for us a little bit later. Yeah, it's the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series, and a one-off race to showcase these iconic cars. Tomorrow, something really special for you. If you're coming down to the track, or if you're staying with us on our YouTube channel, look out for the historic race car demonstration. And here are some of the cars to look out for. We've got Jackie Schechter in the Ferrari 360 Challenge car, Colin Ellison in the Chevron B19, Bruce Keprich in the BMW 635 CSI, a couple of Ferraris with Robert Scott in the 360 Challenge and Neil Botha as well. The Ford Thunderbolt, it's Christoph Radloff in the Colin Ellison sponsored Ford Thunderbolt. Oliver Broom in the Ford Mustang. And there we go, Peter Zealy going through. And look at Dix, he's really closed up. We saw them getting a bit closer there, so the leader's coming through. There's Zealy, and there's Dix right behind him with just over 4 minutes to go. Just remind you, Zealy's in the Sport C category, and these are for your sort of your older cars, the cars that well, the C category is your less than 2-litre engines. And there we've got Dix closing up quite quickly now, under, well, just over half a second. Dix racing in the GTA class. This is your 2012 and newer cars. This is where the back markers are going to have a bit of a role to play. So we'll keep an eye on that. Just coming back to your historic demonstration cars for tomorrow. We keep an eye on the track. Crocodiling through the crocodiles there. Dix closing up quite nicely. We've got Stefan Puchavez, of course, in the 911 1974 replica Porsche. Wade Noble in the BMW E12. Alec Keprich in the BMW E30. Barry Ingle in the BMW E9. And Paolo Caverio in the BMW E23. Right, keeping an eye on track now as action starts to hot up with just over 3 minutes to go. That's going to be probably 2 laps. I mean, we'll just see who comes out on top in this first race. It's been brutal for Zealy. Looked like he left the door open there, but just a different racing line. And Nicky Dix coming through in the Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2 car, sponsored by Curvent. Has he got enough time? Been slowly closing the gap. Of course, in third place, Mia in the Porsche 991 is quite a bit further back, 44.9 seconds. Aubrey in 131 behind, and Hammond in that beautiful Lamborghini, rather, the Trinity Protection Services Lamborghini. Round sunset and into club. Start to see the sun setting there into the driver's eyes as they make their way through a stunning part of the track, down through the S's. The old track would have turned up right. There's still part of it up there if you ever make your way to the track. Otherwise, they're going to look for their braking spots up at the top at Leeuwkop. Old West Bank corner. Seems like he's opened the gap a little bit now. Maybe Zealy was taking it easy, got the notification that Dix was closing, or possibly caught up in traffic a little bit as we head down into what will probably be the start of the final lap with 2 minutes 25 to go. The lead is lapping at around 1:49. Dix doing a 1:51 the last lap out. But their quickest time certainly both been in the low 1:52s. There's that Lamborghini going through. Beautiful GT3 Cup, eh? Some of the most iconic races around the world. And love to see so many Porsches here. Still 1.3 then at the gap at the front as Zealy leads the way ahead of Nicky Dix in that GT3 Porsche. Not long to go now before it's a safety car. We've got, look like a marshal, but yeah, in fact we do. We've got yellow flags out. No. It's Zealy, the race leader, has, oh, wow. It looks dramatic, but it's just a spin, but the whole cover of the car, actually Dix riding through it. Oh, and that is really disappointing. Now that looks like it's coming down mine shaft. Oh, that looks like the rear wheels might have come off there as well. Well, that's certainly going to see the end of the race now. I know that safety car has been indicated, but with just over a minute to go, what is it with this race? We've had a number of cars, and there's some of the bodywork of Peter Zealy's Speeds RS12 that is now, and there we go. We can see a wheel look like it lying in the barrier there. The cars make their way. So it looks like we might finish under the yellow. No, safety car has been called, and it's going to be Nicky Dix, who didn't have the best of starts, but made his way through the field. But they've fallen off. The Legiers fell off. Franco Scribanti fell away. And yeah, we've got... And we're going to have a replay here now of Zealy coming down the hill. And there we can see the wheel just on the side going into the barrier. Oh, that could have ended so badly. There are no fans down that side of the track. So it's... And look there, it's straight into the barrier and just slow down immediately. But bodywork in the track, oh, that is going to be really disappointing for Peter Zealy, who would have been elated with leading the race with some of the other front runners out, the likes of Franco Scribanti. We had some of the Legiers leading at one point, and there we go, confirmation of the race being concluded. Huge disappointment then, and this is motorsport. Eh? Just when you think you've got comfortable with 1 lap to go, it can just so quickly change for you. So there we go. We'll get official results coming through in a short while. Just to remind you, this is race 1 of 2 in the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. The cars will be given an opportunity now just to get back to the pits, have a bit of a breather. Hopefully we'll see some of the cars being repaired. We saw a number of cars pulling out. We started with over 20. We're down to 11 finishers. There we go, Patamba in 11th. He did get back onto the track, and we're hoping to see some more of that. Look at that KTM going through. There's that 1974 Porsche. Can't miss it. And that beautiful Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the Trinity Protection Services Lamborghini, racing in the GTA category. So we'll just allow everyone to pan out as we'll make their way around to the pits, and then we'll get confirmation of the final results. But so dramatic here, and there he is. It's huge disappointment for Zili. It's been unlikely to be taking part in the second race, but as coming down the mine shaft, the back right tyre obviously experiencing huge stress, and unfortunately coming off, no one harmed, into the barrier, but he spun, bodywork went flying, and it's unlikely that we'll see him now competing in that second race. But let's see. These guys are geniuses, and we've got an amazing team. We've been hearing from the support race pits that they've been helping one another to get out there, making sure that everyone's enjoying the racing here on day 1 of the Kyalami 9-hour festival. Motorsport Festival getting underway early tomorrow at 10 to 8. So we're behind the safety car, but we can see confirmation that the race is now finished as they head down to the first corner. Cars will be making their way into the pit. And there we go. It is the 37, and that is Nikki Dix, who's going to be shortly being named as the race winner. Wow, and he was closing in at one point. It did seem like Peter Zili had a little bit more in the tank to push towards the end of the race, but yeah, there we go. Into the pits they go. In race 1 at the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Still a couple more cars out on the track. We're going to let everybody just pan out and just see where the race results come through. Yeah, it's a special race, this, inviting guests from around the country competing in GT and sports. And we look at some of the highlights then of the first race. Second race coming up in a short while to round up day 1 here at the Kyalami 9-hour festival. There's the start. I mean, it looked strong for the Leger, who led out in front. You can see they're quite spread out because they knew it was a 30-minute race. There's no point doing anything silly in the first couple of corners. Ah, there's the Cobra, the 7, the Lotus rather, sorry, going off. Yeah, it was Franco Scribanti. He was leading comfortably. And there we had another one of the sports cars going out. Franco Di Matteo was in contention at one point. He also had a problem. There's Franco Scribanti leading the race. Patamba coming through in the number 13 Porsche Ferrari 360 rather, sponsored by Creative Inc. And there we saw Franco Scribanti slowing down in the Chevron B26, putting his hand up, just letting everybody know. And there was the spin from the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the Trinity Protection Services car. He got going again. Then it was this man, Mr. Peter Zili, who was leading the way. Another spin there for, looks like, the 45. That was Michael Verrier in the Shelby Can-Am. Got a bit close here. He, for a moment, thought he could take it on the inside line, but there was the incident that brought the race to an end. It was Peter Zili losing the back right. It was obviously under severe pressure going around that corner. Sprayed up the body, working quite fantastic style. And in the end, it was this man, Nicky Dix, who could cruise down to the finish line to take the victory. So there we go, sun's starting to get ready to set. It's now 6:10 here at the Kyalami International Raceway. And we're coming to you live from Kyalami. Stunning scenes over the city of Johannesburg, up at the top of the racetrack. And we've got Nicky Dix there coming through with the race victory confirmation there, doing 16 laps in the 30 minutes. Mia in second, ahead of Hammond. And that'll be very pleasing for the Trinity Protection Services Lamborghini because, of course, he spun in the race, but still managed to finish on the podium. In fourth place, it was Aubrey coming ahead of Verrier. Van der Merwe, number 6, coming through We've got Meyer, Duplessis, Pushkaves in the replica Ferrari, and it was Zili then who spun out, finishing in 10th place overall. And then the first of the non-finishers, Scribanti in 12th, Di Matteo 13th, Bortme in 14th, all of those sharing the lead or close to the lead at some point. Patamba, unfortunately, we heard from him a bit earlier in an interview, not able to complete, 13 laps behind. Hopefully we can see some of these cars back on track for the second round. It's the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race here at Kyalami. It's been a fun-packed day. We've had plenty of action. We've had plenty of incidents as well. This racetrack, not the easiest for an amateur driver, so learning some different racing lines and certainly looking forward to seeing what. So Wild Rose Sports GT, a sports car, and you can see the beautiful sun setting there up at the top of the track. This is the view from the first corner of Crowthorne. Well, we have a bit of a break now, so let's get a little insight with Ricky and the team as to some of this amazing story of this Kyalami circuit.
We are officially 1 week out of the Kyalami 9 Hour, and as you can see behind us, all the action has already begun.
Yeah, so this is where it all starts, when you make your way to the biggest sporting event on the motoring calendar. What you got to do is get tagged and checked in by security, and then you make your way into the track. Shall we go in and check it out?
Let's go check out what's happening on track.
Let's go.
So this is one of the general admission areas, and to be honest, probably the best place on the track. It's right at the first corner.
First corner means a lot because they're coming down the main straight and they're doing at least 250 odd kilometers an hour. Then they hit the brakes really hard, and that's what you don't want to miss when you're chilling at a place like this.
Yep, plus you can pack in your cooler box, your camping chairs, your braai, and just really enjoy the atmosphere of the Kyalami 9 Hour.
I'm bringing my picnic blanket, I'm bringing my picnic basket.
Goodness.
I'm staying here. This is where I'm camping.
Jacob is gone. He's gone, people. Gone. When it comes to race weekend, the exciting part about it is there's 12 hours of racing every single day because the Kyalami 9 Hour is supported by the national support classes.
Yeah, at least 160 odd cars are participating, so you'll be able to spot your favorite local racing heroes. This is the back pit. This is where they start and go and take part in the biggest motoring event on the sporting calendar.
Yep, and there's so much space to see this. You can go all the way down that way, all the way down that way, and enjoy the back pits.
I think we should take a walk and see how much space we actually got. Let's go.
Like, I mean, now this is a view. This is the view on track, and it's only accessible if you have hospitality trackside.
Yeah, you get a dedicated bar, easier parking, and even a lounge out zone where you can just chill and take in the sights. And believe you me, these sights are spectacular.
And I mean, you're seeing at least 3 corners, 4 corners. Go online and book now. What are you waiting for?
If you want a room with a view, this is the one for you.
I mean, look at this, Jake. So it may not be all that visible to the naked eye, but Kyalami has one of the highest elevations, and we'll show you all of that in a video very soon.
Let's talk about spectator zones. There's just ample space and so much room for you to view the race from any angle. In fact, you got a view all the way towards West Bank, and you can see the infamous mine shaft on the other side. And
plus, all of that down there.
As far as the eye can see.
So make sure if you do want to come up to West Bank, you follow the road all the way up.
So this is where it begins and ends. This is the main straight of Kyalami Grand Prix circuit.
Yep, and if you want to watch this corner, you got to do it from the VIP pit lane hospitality and the 540 club. It's all up there.
And it's looking amazing. So there's 4 different categories. It's general access.
Yep.
It's trackside hospitality.
Yep.
And then it's VIP hospitality pit
lane.
And
The 540 Club. It's all available on ticketmaster.co.za. So make sure you go and get your tickets right now.
And if you want to catch more details about Kyalami 9 Hour, which takes place on the 25th of February 2023, check out our socials where we'll be giving you 2 episodes per day of Inside Kyalami 9 Hour.
Yep, stay tuned for all the good information. When it comes to South Africa, Kyalami is sitting at 1,700 meters above sea level. That is an unbelievably high altitude already.
And Kyalami, the racetrack itself, also has quite a few elevations. I mean, from the lowest point to the highest point, the numbers are quite important. So I think what we need to do is find out the lowest point of the track and perhaps the highest point of the track.
I think it's West Bank. Shall we take a walk?
Let's take a walk. So now we are 20 meters below the start-finish line, which is exactly where the S's are.
Yeah, it's the lowest point on the track. And we got to walk up to the highest point, West Bank. You ready to walk this?
Oh, it's going to be a tough walk. Let's do this. Why did we walk here?
Whose idea was this?
It was your idea. I said, let's walk up. So look, now we're fast approaching the highest point of Kyalami Grand Prix circuit.
This is about 63 meters above the start-finish line, all right? So we're talking seriously high altitude, plus we're 1,700 meters above sea level. So that's got to have an impact on cars.
Yeah, it can be very challenging for the naturally aspirated cars because when you go higher, you obviously don't have enough power. But then when the turbo-powered cars have it a little more easier. So they have the slight upper edge going up the hill specifically.
So now, if you're still confused, if these 63 meters don't make sense to you, take a look at this. So as you saw, what goes up has to come down, right? And I think the best way to test this out is to see the incline, or decline in this case, of mineshaft.
This is where everybody goes flat out.
And you know what's also going to go flat out? The ball you're going to chase.
I'm chasing this ball down
100%.
mineshaft. Kriya, why are you doing this to me?
I mean, you need some exercise.
We walked up to West Bank, remember?
All right, you ready? On your marks, get set, go.
I gotta get this ball. Why are you doing this? Got it.
Well, as Jacob gets some more exercise coming back up the hill, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight into the elevation that the cars go through in every single lap. For more insights like this, make sure you tune in to the next episode of Inside K9.
Did you know that most tracks around the world, direction-wise, are clockwise?
Yeah, but this one's anti-clockwise. Did you know that?
Kyalami's anti-clockwise?
Yeah.
But it must have been clockwise before.
So back in the day, it was, but now they've swapped it around.
You know what this is making me think of?
What?
Which way is faster, clockwise or anti-clockwise?
So you know I've got some very important people that'll be able to answer this question for us.
Wait, are we going to drive clockwise and anti-clockwise and time it?
You know what? Let's go see if we can find out.
Let's make it happen, Kriya.
All right, Jacob, when I said I had my people, these are my people. It's Chaz and Pepper and Keegan Campos. Welcome to the show, guys. So we're running a little bit of a debate at the moment, okay? What happens if we had to turn Kyalami around and go in the opposite direction? Would this track be as quick?
I don't think it will be any faster, to be fair. I don't think it's going to be far off as going anti-clockwise, but the track was designed anti-clockwise for a certain reason. So I think it's definitely quicker anti-clockwise, and you can go through the different sectors and talk about and discuss which one we think would be faster and which one we wouldn't think would be faster. You got to look at your safety features as well, but if we're going to take those out of question, then I still believe anti-clockwise would be quicker.
Yeah, okay. So if it was fair game and safety features aside, etc., and the track was basically the same the other way around, which way would be faster?
It's a tough question, if you want my honesty. I mean, there's so many straights here. Entry points would be different speeds. My personal opinion, I have to say anti-clockwise current layout has to be quicker. But I'd love to put it to the test, and no, I'd want the answer.
But let's unpack this a little bit, okay? So now, main straight, obviously, we're not going into first corner like we would. We'd come around
the other
this
way.
We'd end up going up the hill on Mineshaft instead of down the hill on Mineshaft. But then there's one section of the track that turns into a flat-out section. I'm playing devil's advocate here, guys.
I definitely think the first sector is what you would call this as the first sector, and not the last sector anymore. I think this way would be slower because you've got to take that long straight into account and hard on the brakes. Okay, you hard on the brakes on both sides, but I think you'd be entering the straight a lot slower than you would from the normal direction.
Agreed.
Down into Crocodile, I think it is. I don't remember the new names, but I think that corner would pretty much be similar both ways around. I don't think that would really change. I think you would notice the biggest difference wouldn't be going up the hill. I think it would be coming back down the hill into towards the S's. I think you would have to brake a lot harder going clockwise, and that speed change from entering the S's from anti-clockwise to entering the S's from clockwise would make the difference.
So, Tasman, did you just say clockwise is faster?
No.
Oh. Man, I thought you were on my side there.
Let me put another spanner in the works, okay? Between the two of you, I'm going to have to say that Keegan's a little bit more adventurous in his driving style. Let's say that.
Thank you.
You'll take it.
I mean, there has been some rolls from Tasman on this track before. Keegan, where would you be able to make up a bit of extra time?
Like Tasman mentioned, I mean, I personally think what is Sector 3 currently would be Sector 1. I think that would be maybe quicker in my opinion. Maybe just...
I love how he looks for it.
Yeah, he's like,
Are you sure I can say that, baby?
If it is quicker, maybe by 0.1. If not, like, let's push it to half a second. I agree with Tasman. From the S's down through all the way up would be Clubhouse. It would be slower. It would be very interesting to see from Clubhouse all the way through to the finish line. It's quite a like tight section. The speeds are much of a muchness in my opinion. Like I said, I'd love to know the answer myself.
I definitely think Sunset would be a lot safer the other way.
She's saying this because she rolled her polo. Okay. All right, so the easiest way to do this, because we were not given permission to drive the track in the opposite direction, unfortunately.
You did try. Kriya did try. I promise you should try.
Didn't know enough.
I would have loved to be the driver.
Is what we've done is we've gotten the guys to actually reverse the track in our simulator. And they're driving the track around in the opposite direction in the simulator, and we've got some great results.
Very interesting. I'd like to know them.
Yeah. right, now that we've seen a lap, all right, I'm not going to show you guys the results just yet. But whilst we are... Yeah, no. Whilst we are standing here, do you not want to change your mind?
Because, listen, I'm looking at that bend, first sector. What did you guys call it? This would be sector 1.
Yes.
Yeah, as you said it. And I think turning out here, you could be way faster than the other
Then the
one.
way around.
No.
And that's where the added
Standing
advantage
here
is.
right now, I still stand that anti-clockwise is way faster.
The look on your face is saying something different.
What do you think, Keith?
I'm on your side.
There we go.
Distance from that corner to this corner is far less than the bowl to this corner, so I'm a bit on the fence at the moment.
Ah, you see?
He doesn't know what's right for him.
All right, well, I have the confirmed times. If you are going in the correct direction, anti-clockwise, you're looking at 1:42 on the sim. Now, there was a question about who is our sim driver. It is Wes, who is a professional South African sim driver, sim racer.
Okay, cool. You give me that confidence now. I'm confident.
So
Okay.
we had a professional do it, and that's 1:42 and 06. Okay. If we look at the opposite, the incorrect direction,
Come on, come with it.
1:44.9. So you're looking at 3 seconds slower going in the opposite direction. And Wes also confirmed with me you're losing about a second per sector.
Oh, I see.
I need to have a word with Wesley though.
I'm so glad you know him. Okay, well, that settles it then.
Yep.
The ladies were right.
100%. I mean, that's how we roll.
I'll leave it right there. Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you, Kriya and the team. Some nice little insights there into this iconic racetrack. Right, back onto action and the final race of the day. A 30-minute session for the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Just to remind you, race results from earlier on. After a bit of chaos and a couple of cars not finishing, it was Nicky Dix in that Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2. And there he is, leading now into race 2. The Toys R Us Mo Mia in the 69 Porsche 991 GT3 Cup in second. Then it's the Lamborghini, the Trinity Protection Services Sam Hammond in this Lambo Super Trofea. The Haval Edenvale, Roy Aubrey in the Porsche 997. And we've got Mike Verrier in the 8-call Shelby Can-Am. So there we can see them lining up. Unfortunately, we have lost a few cars. Franco Scribanti. But we have got Franco Di Matteo. I did see him there line up there. We can see that white Mustang. You can see it just coming into shot now. So he obviously had a small problem, as have we got the Ferrari is back as well. The 13 of Kishore Patamba. It's the Rico Bala Racing Ferrari 360. And the number 17 is back as well as Mikael Patemba. So we get racing and it's underway here for the final time at the Kyalami 9-hour. It's the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Invited guests from around the country to come and take part. And we're hoping for a good finish. Look at that Lamborghini. Seems to have a bit of a slow start taking the inside line. But tight through there. There goes that beautiful KTM and the Ferrari at the back of the field. It's still Nicky Dix, though, leading the way ahead of Mia in that Porsche. Just to remind you, this is a once-off race. It's race 2 with a 30-minute session. And, of course, then we're back to our national series tomorrow morning, getting underway at 10 minutes to 8, rather. It's the InvestChem F1600 and the FF Kent, the single-seater open-wheeled cars. Then we go to the almost 50 cars on the track for the BMW M Performance Parts Race Series. Mobile 1 V8 Series then back for race 2 at 9 a.m. Comcare Polar Cup at 9:35. And the GTCs will wrap up what is going to be a stunning start to the 2023 season for these cars in the GTC and Super Cup at 22:11. We start our build-up to the 9-hour just after 11 o'clock. So up at the top of the course, it's a stunning view. If you ever get a chance to come to this iconic racetrack, wherever you're watching from around the world, you've got to go and have a look at the top of Leeuwkop. It is absolutely stunning. You can see some of the original track there. And really get a sense of the speed that these cars take to get up the hill and then, of course, go down the famous mine shaft. As Nicky Dix comfortably leading the way, we're coming to the end of our first lap now. It seems like the Lamborghini has dropped off a little bit of the pace here. The Trinity Protection Services Sam Hammond, the GTA car, was looking good on the grid, but seems like he's fallen a bit off the pace. So Dick's coming through in a 1:53.8. Wow. These cooler conditions certainly assisting. A 1:55 for Mia in second, ahead of Verrier. The Shelby Can-Am in third, a 1:58.1. Patamba in the Leger. Good to have him back, number 17, and also under 2 minutes. Aubrey in the Porsche 997 coming through 5th place. Di Matteo back into race 2. Had a bit of a problem. And there we go. We thought that we didn't see the Lamborghini, and it's Hammond. I don't think he's crashed. I think he's just pulled up. We saw him dropping down through the pack. So he's currently last place. And could we see in a difficult position, a yellow flag coming out in a safety car. Close racing there between... wow. I mean, stewards don't have to do anything. The Lamborghini is just reversing off the track there, out of harm's way. Let the race continue. So a fantastic opening race there for Hammond, but unfortunately looks like he's got a problem with the car and he's out. There's Patamba's Ferrari in 10th place currently. Patamba lapping in about the 2:11s at the moment. That KTM, a stunning looking car. You just want to drive it, you want to go sit in it. He did a 2:10 last time out, dropping down to 9th place, and in the Sports B class currently, running second at the moment. Nicky Dix leading the way in the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race. Second race, of course, of the evening. Originally, we were hoping for a 1-hour race, but for many of these cars, particularly the older ones, just didn't have a big enough fuel tank to be able to go for an hour, so they've split it up to 2:30 minutes. The likes of Franco Di Matteo will be pleased with that, because it gave him a chance to fix the little problem that he had on the car, the little gremlin. As the sun starts to go down, starting to see a little foretaste perhaps of tomorrow night's 9-hour race with the GT3s. In fact, in the last few years, we've seen the quicker times from the 9-hour race drivers in the dark. So it certainly is a sight to see. Got to come down to the track and see these incredible cars at top speed around this iconic circuit. Right, Patamba now turning up the heat. He's down into the sub 150s. So he's running in 3rd place at the moment in the Leger. Had a little problem earlier on. So he's here. He's ready to race. He's coming into race and closing the gap quite quickly. Just 3 seconds behind for the number 17. There he is. Earlier just had to stop at the side of the track, so a small technical problem, but he's quickly closing the gap now. And we'll see that Ott on the hills, he should get past Mia perhaps up the top of the track. In fact, he's going to do it before he even gets there. Going up the hill to Leeuwkop. Look for your braking spot. It can be difficult in the dark. And there he goes round the outside into 2nd place. So Dick's next up on his radar for Patamba in the Leger. The Sports C class. This is an under 2-litre engine, but such a light vehicle. It's got immense speed. Barrere still in 4th in the Shelby Can-Am. Aubrey in 5th position in that Porsche 997 GT3 Cup. Great to have Di Matteo back. He's racing in the Ford Mustang GT. Pulled out earlier in race 1. And great to see him back. He's got lots of duties this weekend, racing in Mobil 1 V8 series. He's here in the Wild Rose Gin Sports GT. And he's got some duties as well with the 9-hour, involved with some of the pace cars as well. So nice to have Di Matteo. And he was just smiling ear to ear on Wednesday of all these responsibilities that he's got. Patamba really closing up now as they cross the start-finish line, 0.8 seconds behind. Just get a feeling like it's not going to be long now. He came in a 149.3. Dick's doing a 151.7. Aubrey, quickest of the field in that Porsche 997. He clocked 227 kilometers down the main straight. So the fastest of the field there. But it's not all about straight line speed. Look at that KTM. The beautiful number 2 car of Dion Duplessis. The KTM Expo RR. And there's the Porsche of Patamba. The Ferrari, rather, 360. Kishore Patamba with the Rico Bala Racing Ferrari. Patamba now just under a second behind in the lead of the race. Here's that 1974 Porsche. There's the KTM. And there's the 13, the Kishore Patamba Ferrari 360, sponsored by Creative Inc. and Rico Bala Racing. Oh, is he seeing him? There's just enough gap there. Don't scratch the KTM, please. It's too beautiful. Neither the Ferrari, asseblief. They make their way through, playing quite nicely there. The KTM diving, that's not a place to overtake at Sunset Corner. Save yourself for the racing line, and you've got another chance at Clubhouse, of course. One character you certainly want to meet if you come down tomorrow, Mr. Pushavez in the GTC Porsche 911, sponsored by Shamdor Installations and Services. And there we go, a change for the flashing lights. Looks like it won't be long now. He should have the speed down the main straight. As no, that Porsche is quick. That Porsche is very quick. Nicky Dick still leading the way then. In fact, you can see the Porsche pulls away on the main straight. And last time out, Nicky Dick's doing a 151.7, opening up then on the main straight. And Patamba in the Leger doing a 149.3. So he's consistently under the 149 and 150s rather, as they head over to barbecue. 22 minutes left in this second race here at the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. An invitational race. A bit of a warm-up for tomorrow night's Kyalami 9 hour here at the iconic Kyalami Raceway Circuit. It's round 2 of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli, coming away at 1 o'clock. Very close now. So, hearing from some of the drivers earlier, Clubhouse is not the best place to overtake. We'll go through the S's and hopefully find a spot as they come up towards Leeuwkop. And where the old circuit would turn right in the next couple of meters. It just goes around the outside. Despite the Porsche straight line speed, we might see that now going up to the top. That Leger is just a lighter car. And you can see the Porsche just gets ahead. But then on the corners, that car's center of gravity so low. And there we go, a new race leader here in race number 2. And it's Mikael Pitamba in the Rico Bala Racing Leger JS53. He's going to need to build up a bit of a gap because we know that Porsche is going to close up quite quickly down the main straight. Got a fantastic top speed. So just behind it, still Mia, about 2.6 seconds back in the Porsche 911 GT3 Porsche Cup. These are iconic cars, of course, part of a race series that has taken place over the years around the world. And does he have a big enough gap? Looks like it is. And he should be able to now maintain that pace up at the front, barring no incidents that we've had so far today in race number 1. At 149.3, despite being behind Nicky Dix, we might see him break into the 148s then, now that he's got some clear air in front of him. So change in the lead of the race. It's race 2 with 20 minutes to go. The number 13, Kishore Patamba there in the Ferrari 360. He's down in 9th place at the moment. Duplessis racing in that beautiful KTM. The Expo RR is currently sitting in 8th position at the moment. Great to see Di Matteo back as well. He was out in race 1. He's running in 6th ahead of Meyer in 7th place. Meyer in the Porsche 924 GTR. He's racing in the GTC1 category. Or rather GTC category, which is your 2 litres and under engines. So we've got 5 categories of racing here in the GT and sports race, brought to you by Wild Rose Gin. The GTA class is your 2012 and newer cars. GTB is your 2011 and older, and then we've got your Historics 1990 and older as the KTM looks for the inside line going into Crowthorne. Don't scratch that car, please. Thank you. It's a beautiful car. Fans are coming here tomorrow to look at that KTM. It's such a stunner, such a looker. So GT A, B, C, A 2012 and newer, B 2011 and older, and 1990 and older we've got the GTC class. The Sports A class is 3.5 litre engines and upwards. We've got none of them taking part, but in the B class from your 2 litres through to 3.5 litre engines. That's your that's your Sports B class rather. So currently in the GTBs we've got the Porsche 997 of Obery, the 997 car. That's Roy Obery from the Haval Edenvale sponsored car. He's currently leading that class. C then, Sports C, we've got less than 2 litre engines for your Sports C. So 5 different categories racing here at the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series with 18 minutes to go. Patamba now stretching out the lead. And there we go, going through in a 147.1. With these cool conditions, I reckon he can go even quicker as the sun goes down. And stunning scenes here at the Kyalami Raceway. It's been a warm day. We'll have a quick look at weather temperature for you. We've got all the information here from Race Control. 27 degrees outside at the moment at 20 minutes away from 7. Track temperature, we hit 57 earlier today. We're down to 30 degrees, so nice cool conditions for these cars as they make their way around the iconic Kyalami circuit. All set to go then for day 2 here at the Kyalami Motorsport Festival. And looking forward to the 9-hour race getting underway at 1 o'clock tomorrow. If you're wondering who's on pole, by the way, for the 9-hour, go along to the Kyalami 9-hour Facebook page and all the social media pages. And you can get all the details there of the 999 Mercedes, who's on pole position, painted like a mamba, like a snake. And you'll hear the commentators refer to that a few times tomorrow. 9 o'clock getting underway, racing all the way through till 10 o'clock tomorrow night. There goes the KTM, the number 2. Dion Duplessis going through there, and the Porsche of Petamba going through in 8th place. So comfortably out in front now. It is the number 1 car there, or rather the number 17 car, the Leger, looking very strong, very comfortable now into the 147s. I think he could break into the 146s as we go. Right, we take a short break from the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT with 16 minutes to go as we go behind the scenes here at the Kyalami 9-hour. Welcome back. It's just under 15 minutes to go. It's halfway stage of the second race of the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Unfortunately, Franco Di Matteo, for the second time this evening, is out of the race into the pits, as is Sam Hammond in the Trinity Protection Services Lambo Super Trofea. Unfortunately, difficult conditions, drivers waiting around and hoping for better conditions or better opportunities, and just simply not happening for them. But we still have 10 cars. We started out with 22 at the start of the weekend, and it's been a bit of a brutal one for these invitational drivers. So Patamba's still comfortably now. He's got into the leads. He's not into the 147s just yet, still lapping around 147.4. And I think now that he's got the lead, he's going to remain comfortable in that position. Nicky Dix, who started on pole position after perhaps a surprise result in race 1, sitting in second place. And yeah, he's looking comfortable there. He's got a big lead over the third place Porsche. is 991. Right, we cross over to Ricky, who chatted to some of the team down in the sport race pits a bit earlier on today.
Okay, thanks, Gareth. So I'm standing here with Richard Fullett, who's a very difficult man to find, but I did find him, understandably, because there's a lot going on. You were supposed to race in 2 different series. Something's just happened on track. I want to hear everything. I want to know what's going to happen from here on out. Give me the lowdown.
The lowdown is not great, I got to tell you, but so we came into the weekend. We obviously participate in the V8 Mobile 1 Super Series, and so that was our priority, and we decided to do a few more laps and do the 1 hour endurance as well. So we went out for the endurance. We qualified this morning, managed to put the car second on the grid, which was awesome. So the car's fast. We then went out for qualifying in our own series, which is the V8, and something unfortunate. The back spindle broke on the left rear, nearly put us on our roof. It was quite an incident, but that kind of put us out because the parts that we've damaged, unfortunately, are not everybody's got the same parts on their cars, and it's not something you buy off the shelf. It's stuff we manufacture for the cars. So that's unfortunately, the car sits in a very sad state across the way there, and we're out for the weekend, but we'll be here to spectate and hopefully do our sponsors a bit prouder next time out.
I mean, I must say, it's refreshing to see you so positive, unless that's just for camera, but I know it's frustrating. Are you frustrated that you went out in the race that was kind of just for extra track time? How are you feeling about that kind of situation?
So the extra track time is actually good. That's what we want to do. We want to get more track time, and it basically brings about these problems that we've got. They inherit things that do happen. They're going to happen somewhere during the season, and I suppose it brings it to the forefront, and now we can look out for them, maybe preempt them possibly, and maybe bring a few more parts to the track next time round as well. There's a first time for everything. This is the first time this has happened to us, so we couldn't really prepare for this one, but be that as it may, we'll be back up and strong next time. Our pace was incredibly quick this weekend. We were riding on old tyres and doing fantastic times. The car and myself seem to be working well. I've got Rudy, my mechanic, on board at the moment. He's an electronic Bachman and he loves his mechanics, so he's got the car working really, really well. So hopefully for the next one we'll be back up front and on the podium somehow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pity because I must be honest, I was very interested to watch you throughout the weekend, knowing that you're doing 2 series and seeing what happens and how that works with regards to, just also it's tiring, so I was really looking forward to it. But I love the fact that you're still coming to support and watch everyone else. So now I have to ask you, since you're not racing, the question that's coming, who are you rooting for?
These are all a great bunch of guys, We've got Mackie up front, who's won it so many times. Love the guy to bits. But hey, Mackie, back off, buddy. We need to get a new winner here. Thomas Reba's really quick. He's a guy to watch out for. He made a mistake, a fundamental one into turn 1 today, and you don't do that in front of Mackie. Mackie's going to take advantage. He's going to move away and teach you a lesson, and that's exactly what happened today. So, listen, it's great. Warren's coming up nice and strong. He was quick today, just had a bit of an issue. Frankie's always there, always fast. He lost his right rear wheel in turn 2 today, and got off a bit lighter than me, and he'll be back on the track tomorrow. There's new guys from overseas joining us. There's 2 guys running on the back end of the field at the moment, but they still make up the field. They come from Finland, and it's great to see them out in a South African series. They're loving it. In fact, the gentleman in the blue car, Hans, I think it is, it's his first race, and so props to him. I hope to see him more in South Africa and bring a few more of the Finns through here. It'll be great to see.
Well, very politically correct, because you managed to cover everyone without hurting any feelings.
Listen, just a quick shout out if you don't mind. I've got Idemitsu on board. Idemitsu has come on board last year. They've really stood by us quite strongly. JB Oil is the local agent for Idemitsu Japan, and I was hoping to do a little bit better for them this weekend. Didn't quite work out, but we did show good results and good pace in the qualifying and the practicing. So look out for us next time round. Number 12 will be up there on the podium.
Definitely, and I am going to check back with you tomorrow, just on what your thoughts are. Even though you're not racing, I'd love to hear what you think and, who you're rooting for. So thank you so much for your time.
Bring the mic in, I'll commentate for you through the V8. How's that?
Love it. Thank you so much. Back to you, Gareth.
Thank you, Ricky, and I think we're going to have to take Richard up on that offer there. He's, of course, reflecting on the Mobile 1 V8 series. Mobile 1, of course, coming on board, a sponsor now for a 5th year. Great to have them with us. And he's referring to Mackie, of course, leading the way, the man to beat. And we look forward to seeing that race 2 in the Mobile 1 V8 series coming away at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So he's been missing from this race as well. He was hoping to take part. That is Richard Fuller in that beautiful Ford Falcon. We saw images earlier today of the wheel that's been ripped off. The whole prop shaft is missing, so it's not going to be repairable. No spares here, unfortunately. So he'll be back, though. He's absolutely positive, loving racing here at Kyalami. And wow, wouldn't you? Look at the scenes here. The wide pan angle shot, camera maybe doesn't give you a proper indication of how dark it is outside at the moment. And yeah, guys certainly do need their lights on the front of the car. Just under 8 minutes to go then. Pitamba taken the lead. He's now 32 seconds ahead of the second place man, Mr. Nicky Dix in the Curvin Porsche GT3. Mia still in third. They've pretty much stayed that way over the last couple of laps. Veria in the Shelby Can-Am in fourth. He's in the Sports B class. In GTB, it's still Aubrey, the number 997, Roy Aubrey. He's in the sponsored Haval Edenvale Porsche 997. In sixth place overall, the number 13, Kishore Pitamba, the Ferrari 360. He's currently sitting second in class. Second in class as well for the KTM Expo RR of Dion Duplessis, the number 2, in seventh place overall. Leading GTC, we've got 23, the number 23 car, and that is Philip Meyer. He's currently leading the GTCs ahead of Van der Merwe, Pushovez, and that's the field there. 10 left. We started with 22. It's been brutal for some of the top runners. We lost earlier Franco Scribanti. He was leading at one point. The Legiers seem to struggle. The speeds of Peter Zeele, unfortunately, was leading in the last race. And coming down to the penultimate lap, coming down the mine shaft, losing a wheel. No chance for him to get ready for the second race. So some of the sports cars are missing out here. But it's fantastic to see. They made a huge effort to come up to be at Kyalami. And with just over 6 minutes to go, it's going to wrap up day one action. Just to remind you what's coming up over the next 24 hours. We'll be here tomorrow this time, looking out for the Kyalami 9 hour getting underway at 1 o'clock. And we wrap things up at 10 p.m. Sunset around 6:45 tomorrow here at the 9 hour. Just on 5 minutes to go now to wrap up day one, the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT. Pitamba ahead of Dix, Mia and Aubrey. The two guys who've been taking part in more than one race, unfortunately not working out for them, Di Matteo and the likes of Richard Fuller, just not quite working out for them, unfortunately. Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT, a one-off race. This is all about celebrating GT and sports cars from around the country, and we're thrilled to be able to have them here with us as a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Five minutes to go now to round up the first day of the Kyalami 9 hour and the Motor Fest. Great excitement amongst the fans, all set to go and ready to go for the second day. It's an early start for us. Get underway at 10 to 8 tomorrow. BMW M Performance, just on 50 cars in the second race. The InvestChem F1600s in that first race. The Mobile 1 V8 Series at 9 o'clock. Compcare Polo Cup at 9:35. And GTC rounds up the local series at 10:40. Pitamba still leading the way then in the Leger. Doing a 1:47, so not breaking under that 1:47 mark, but why should he? He's got a comfortable lead ahead of Nicky Dix in the Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2 car. Mia still in third in the 69 Porsche 991. Pitamba looked like he could pick up the pace a little bit, but he hasn't broken under the 2-minute mark. In fact, last lap was a 2:08. One doesn't quite get a sense of how dark it is here on the cameras and on the TV screen and wherever you're watching from around the world, but it is dark outside. And yeah, you can see the pace has certainly dropped off, but it just shows you how incredible the GT drivers are in the Kyalami 9 hour, part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. Their quickest times are at this time of the evening. Temperature's nice and cool on the track, and they're just second nature to keep going quicker and quicker. 3 minutes left to go then as Pitamba comfortably in the lead, 45 seconds clear of Dix and Mia. Of course, we don't want to give commentators curse just yet. We did that earlier on, and we saw the likes of Zeele exiting on the penultimate lap. Di Matteo he exited while leading. So we've seen quite a few number of the cars while leading this race, unfortunately not finishing. So we won't count our chickens just yet, with just on 3 minutes to go. We're all set to go then for the 9 hour, the qualifying done and dusted, and we'll be looking forward to seeing the 999 Mercedes on pole position for tomorrow's 1 o'clock start. The good news for South African fans, Sheldon van der Linde is starting in second. Well, his team's in second in that WRT BMW. They're second and third, the 2 Audis 4 and 5. It's going to be very close and exciting. And of course, look out for the South Africans competing as well, all South African teams a little bit down the field. Well, it's been a stunning first day. We've had some close racing. With a jam-packed program like this, we have seen, unfortunately, when incidents have taken place, that we've had to, unfortunately, not be able to continue the race. As we can see, looking back down from Barbecue towards sunset. Sunset now. A couple of fans still up on the banks enjoying this beautiful racing, GT3 sports car racing, and getting ready, warmed up for tomorrow night's action here at the Kyalami 9 hour. So a number of casualties, unfortunately, today. That Crocodile's corner, man, it's had a few bites out of it today, taking its toll on the drivers and the machinery, and could have a big role to play tomorrow in the 9 hour. So there's been teams working through the night, trying to get their cars ready out in the support race pits. Ricky's been out there chatting to the teams, and looking forward to hearing from her in a short while as to the atmosphere up there. Lots of guys, of course, some even heading back to work this afternoon after their earlier races. They'll be back tomorrow in full force. And don't forget, of course, if you're in the Gauteng area, get yourself a ticket and come and join us for what's looking to be a cracking day here at the Kyalami 9 hour. It's part of the festival. Lots of activities taking place. We'll ask Ricky to give us a little update as what's all happening down there. We've seen some beautiful cars on display. I think some drifting or spinning maybe even. We'll find out more in a short while. As we head into the final minute of the Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT race, it's Patamba. Dropped off the pace a little bit now into the 150s ahead of Dix in second. A 151 last time out for Nicky Dix. Mia's in the 152. Only other 2 cars under 2 minutes is Obery in the 997 Porsche, the number 997 car, and Verrier in the Shelby Can-Am, the number 45 in the Sports B class. He's still lapping in the 154s, but last time out, just over 2 minutes. You've really seen the teams drop. They just want to finish the race now. No more incidents as we head to the final couple of corners now. This could be interesting because the leaders might have to start another lap as we make our way through these iconic corners here at the Kyalami 9 hour. No, we can see now the leaders coming through out from Barbecue. That's the main straight for the support races. The pits on the right hand side. They go through Sunset. The sun's long gone now. Keep it nice and tidy, boys, as we head down to the clubhouse section. Earlier today, plenty of fans parking off under the trees in the hot conditions, enjoying the racing. He takes a left now into the S's. We saw earlier today a couple of cars going off, missing their braking point, and unfortunately, if you miss that first part of the S's, you're going to skid across into the second part. That barrier's been quite active. Up to Leeuwkop then for the last time. Pick your braking point in the dark, take the left turn, and enjoy the joyride that is the mine shaft for one more time. These sports cars will be full throttle through there. Very low center of gravity, and might just ease off to not have any drama going into this final stint of the Crocodiles, which has certainly claimed its victims today. We've got Cheetah, your penultimate corner, and then Ingwe with the famous South African flag on it. The iconic photograph that's so often seen when you picture the Kyalami race circuit. It's Patamba then, the number 17 in the Sports C class, that's going to take up the race victory. And there we go, waving the flags, waving from left to right. His fate in his own hands. He hasn't succumbed to the tragedy of some of our former race leaders. Nicky Dix way back, 54 seconds behind. It was our race 1 winner. He benefited from all of the drama around him, including Peter Zeely, who unfortunately lost a wheel in the penultimate lap of the race. You'll see 4, 6, 7 and 8 all having finished because they were a lap down, with Nicky Dix now still coming around there. He makes his way now down mine shaft. A final braking point at the Crocodiles. It's Cheetah and Ingwe to wrap up his race and to finish a fantastic invitational race here at the Wild Rose Gin SA Sports Car Series. Mia will pick up a third place, about 9 seconds behind. The rest of the field have now completed their race. So there we go. Nikki Dixon, the Curvin Porsche GT3 Cup Gen 2 car, through the finish line to take second place, to go along with the first place in the opening race of this invitational race. And it's going to be Mia just behind to wrap up the podium. Well, it's been a fantastic first day. Ricky is joining me live in our studios. Ricky, you've had quite an adventurous day. Hey, nice to have you up here with me.
It's good to be here. It's been very hot down there, but also very, very exciting. Very busy. A lot has been happening. Just to see all the passion that goes into everything. Just absolutely amazing to see the love and the excitement of all the supporters. Yes. It's been great to be down there and catch all the everything that's happening when it's happening.
I've seen quite a lot of kids around. It's like a family vibe down there.
Yeah, it definitely is. You have supportive wives and the kids and babies.
Babies at a racetrack.
Yeah.
Tell us about the festival, of course, that's taking place just below the support race pits as well. A couple of beautiful cars on display. I heard some drifting or some noise going on there.
Yes, so there is a skid pan down there it's going to have some drifting, or it has already. We haven't taken you down there yet. We're going to take you down there tomorrow to show you all the exciting things that are happening. There's a Mercedes tent, there's a Heineken tent. It's really amazing down there. It's a lot of fun.
Right, Wild Rose Gin Sports and GT, there's your final results. So we're going to say cheers for this evening from myself and Ricky and the team. We've got a jam-packed lineup tomorrow. If you're in the area, you've got to get your tickets. You've got to get down here to Kyalami. We get underway at around 7:50. See you then.